Greetings. It is I, Mary Magdalene. It has been a while since I brought you a message personally. There have been other developments within your earth plane, however. I have been working with my beloved, and this being you know as Raquel, on her other channels and transmissions with other beings. We are also working on an individual level with beings that come to her to work on themselves through one-on-one sessions with us. We are so pleased to be offering you this service. It warms our hearts to hear your individual stories, and as we progress through your healing, it is incredible for us to be able to assist you on these individual levels, physically, emotionally, and mentally. We are here as light beings, and so we are spiritual beings. We do not entangle ourselves with the religious connotations that exist within your earth plane, even though much of it has stemmed, unfortunately, from our incarnation upon your earth plane 2000 of your years ago. During our healing sessions with individuals that come to Raquel, we address any and all trauma that they might face within their being. We address this from a higher perspective of their soul and their soul's purpose upon this earth plane. So if you are struggling mentally, physically, or emotionally, I would encourage you to seek out an energy healing session, either with Raquel or with us, or a combined session that is available on her website. We would be honored to interact with you in this manner. For today's transmission, I would like to bring forth the energy of our combined incarnation, my beloved Yeshua and myself, that took place 2000 of your years ago. We were, as I have also mentioned in previous transmissions, birthed into lands that were controlled by Romans who were in turn being controlled invisibly by invader forces that came from another star system known as the Draco constellation. The beings that the Roman rulers or the Roman Empire were controlled by were beings that named themselves overlords or lords and are of the species known to you as the tall whites, the Draco, the reptilians, or the greys. This was their hierarchy, respectively, with the tall whites at the top of the pyramid. Below the greys were the Roman officials in physical bodies and those that made up the majority of the ruling class at that time. For myself personally, coming into that incarnation, I was warned of their very powerful abilities and of their depravity. I researched their energies and their galactic history individually, and so when I came into that incarnation, I was prepared on my soul's level to face resistance. However, what manifested within the third dimensional reality was something quite different. You see, dear ones, in those days, even we as light beings were not prepared for the true depravity we faced. We who were descending into a third or fifth dimension, that was the reality at that time, and having prepared our energies to be reduced not only to a lower dimensional being, but were prepared to face the onslaught of a powerful army of beings that were not in alignment with the light. However, in reality, even my pure being, or my preparation, was not ready to face such darkness. Prior to my descension, Mother Mary, Yeshua's Earth Mother, was a part of my soul family, and so our missions were aligned prior to my incarnation as Mary Magdalene. So when Yeshua and myself aligned our energies on the physical plane with the assistance of Mother Mary, we came through the veil of the third dimension, if you will, to realize our true soul's path and our combined and individual missions. It was during this time that we as a group sat together and had a very in-depth conversation as to how it was we would move forward on our mission, knowing what we knew at that time and space and being within the physical body. We each discovered that the energy that we were experiencing was hard to describe or compare to what we had perceived in our light bodies during the planning stage of our Earth mission. Taking all of this in our stride, we loosely made a plan on how we would move forward, knowing that there were higher dimensional beings that were controlling the Roman rulers who were presenting to us as the immediate oppressors in the physical world, even though they were not visible to the many. At that time, only Mother Mary was able to see these higher dimensional impostors in their true form, and so whenever we stumbled upon these beings, she would warn us to shield our energy field so that they were not able to harm us. But this only put a target on our backs, as they identified us as pure beings. And so when Yeshua, Mother Mary, and myself, along with the others that were within our inner circle, started our ministry, they already had us within their sights as the enemy. We decided as we moved through our mission to do the best that we could under the circumstances of such a formidable enemy. We each constantly tuned into a higher guidance, and this is what we were guided to do the best that we could. We knew that our lives were in danger and that our time on the earth was short, and so we made it our mission and were motivated to make each day count as we endeavored to reach as many people as we could in our message of peace, our message of hope, and that it was easy to liberate their individual souls from the entrapment and instead to connect to their higher self energies and to that of the Creator. As we moved through the villages, we felt the constant presence of these overlords, as they called themselves, constantly watching us and laughing at our attempts to shift the beliefs and the frequency of the people that they had trapped within their low vibrational frequency fences. It was a struggle, as the many were so blinded as they were unable to detangle themselves from the cords that were wrapped around their energy fields, strangling them into submission and suppression. Those that were able to get away found peace in their hearts, and the miracle of the Creator's light shone brightly in their hearts. These overlords initially ignored these initial initiates that discovered the light within their hearts. However, as time went by, it became infectious within the masses as more and more began to see and feel the shift within themselves after they had removed themselves from the chains that energetically bound them to the suppression and oppression of these rulers. As our popularity grew, so too did the attempts on our lives and those that supported us. We were constantly on high alert wherever we went, especially the women. We had to have male companions wherever we went to protect us and shield us from the wrath of the Romans and the everyday people who were not awake to their madness. This, dear ones, is unfortunately still happening in your world now. It is very unnerving for us to watch this taking place, as we see the similarities that we personally experienced 2,000 of your years ago. Only this time it is on a much deeper, more depraved, and sophisticated level. These beings have had many years to hone their skills and practices. In your present situation, where an army of light workers from other dimensions have arrived in your atmosphere, and with the decree as issued by the Creator, for these beings to leave your plane of existence in your year 2012, the Draco overlords and a vast majority of their minions have been removed from your plane of existence. Their legacy, however, of corruption, suppression, and oppression still remains. Your society is embroiled into what they brought forth as a way of life that exists within their own society on the Draco constellation. This is not how you are meant to be living. The Draco constellation is a plane of existence that exists within a narrow frequency band that envelops the fourth dimensional experience. What this means is that beings that reside within this energy field are exploring a highly controversial energy within their beings as they evolve from the polarity of darkness into light. It is a very crucial time for their soul's existence to make that choice to live within the fourth dimensional existence, turn back and devolve, or take that step towards the polarity of light and become a light being, after which their soul evolves towards the fifth dimension to then train to become a light being. It is in this state of being that many make those choices. It is a very thin sliver of reality when you compare it to the third and fourth dimension that exists within your earth plane, to the fifth to seventh dimensional plane of existence that used to exist prior to the invasion by these beings. So what they have essentially done is recreated that energy that they were accustomed to upon their plane of existence, but they went further than that. They imposed their beliefs and their hatred for the Creator and all things that represent the light into the minds of the then population that existed upon your earth plane. They made it impossible for beings to survive if their rules or belief systems were not followed. This was some of what we experienced 2000 of your years ago. The environment was a very palpable, aggressive, oppressive energy. In your world today, the majority of your population are descendants from those trapped souls from the invasion. The invaders used sophisticated technology to trap the souls of those that they had trapped and recycled them one lifetime after the next, using physical bodies that they created to house the trapped, recycled souls again and again. The fabric of your society is embroiled in this deception, and so many do not understand what is taking place. These impostors hid true galactic history from you, while they suppressed the many, imposing their own versions of laws and belief systems that have translated into what your many social structures, practices, and religions of today comprise of. The advent of bringing Yeshua and his experience into your holy books was brought about by these beings as they set up a council that you may know as the Council of Nicaea to publish their version of what actually took place. What has resulted is an inversion of what truly took place from the perception of Yeshua and myself. They tarnished my name, and none of our true teachings or mine ever saw the light of day. Some semblance of these teachings have survived, but a majority of it perished over time. My message to you today is that you each have the mighty task of discerning what your own truth is. You have to personally overcome not only 2000 years of misinformation, but you also have to heal from a soul level as you release your individual soul from the entrapment that many of you have fallen victim to. This is not the case for all. Please know this. There are those that came to incarnate on your earth plane, specifically on a mission to help save this plane of existence, who you might know as starseeds, lightworkers, etc. There is also a group of beings that have incarnated with agreements made by many star nations with the Draco while they ruled. These are special cases. These souls were enveloped, shall we say, within the protective shield of their star nations and their guides, and so were untouchable by the Draco in their rule upon your plane of existence. Within these corridors within which the light existed upon your plane, we as light beings, Yeshua and myself, among others, were able to infiltrate and expand the minds of many of these souls that belonged to the first group of trapped souls to shift their thinking over time. We have helped many in this way by gradually shifting their thinking. As a result, there are many that have completely aligned with our message, who are now completely awake to what truly took place. Raquel is one such being. We are seeing this awakening take place more and more, as those that were initially awake have taken on the mantle of discovering the truth for themselves and sharing their stories far and wide. The awakening that has taken place over your last perhaps 10 years has been quite enhanced, and it has now gained momentum, as many of your leaders previously controlled by these depraved beings are now being left to their own devices. They are soon realizing just how tarnished their own skin has become and how depraved their souls truly are. It is my prayer to each and every one of you to take stock of your lives. Meditate upon your heart as it finds the true spark of the Creator within. This light still exists within each of you, in spite of the depravity you have incurred at the hands of these invaders. All the trauma and fragmentation that your soul has experienced can be healed. So I ask you to take these steps forward and towards healing if you believe you have been harmed at the hands of these invaders. Seek help from beings like Raquel through her sessions and from us who are here to help you to overcome these difficulties on a soul level. This is a very important time to make this transition, as your earth plane as well has suffered much at the hands of these beings, as she too was traumatized by the frequency fences installed upon her lands, bringing her being down from a thriving, flourishing, 7th, 5th, and 3rd dimensional being to constantly vibrate within the narrow band of the lower 4th dimension that is not suitable for her being to survive. So help yourself and help your planet as you evolve out of this depravity. Go within your heart, meditate, seek help and healing as you move forward into the light as your true soul. Leave behind all the destruction of the past. We know that you are tired and weak from your many lifetimes of struggle. What lies ahead of you is the golden age of Aquarius, which is the revival of your species, and it is truly a time of celebration and of beauty. But you have to take that important step forward that your soul truly desires, and that is to step into the light and to seek the help that your soul most desires. Much blessings.